it's Shiloh here with Pajama Crafter Stamps, creating a card for National Pet Week. I am casing a card this week from Craft Somnia, Bree Renwick. This is her card, and here is mine. When I saw her card, I was very inspired for this week, actually, and I immediately thought of Pajama Crafter Stamps Meowentine stamp set, and so that's what I chose to use today. I'm just showing you here the finished card and the stamp set. And even though this is a Valentine set, I'm going to use it today just for a friendship card. So I will show you a little bit of adapting, very simple and easy to do. But we're just going to start with our coloring first. I did color all of the cats in except for one, just so that you could see how I did that. But really, they're all colored basically the same with the same grays here. Cool grays today, starting with my darkest color, always going in blending that out with my medium shade, and then finally with my light shade. How many of you start dark to light or light to dark? I'm curious. You can definitely comment below. I used to start light to dark, but as I've grown in confidence, I guess, over the years, I now start dark to light. So, and then we're just going to color in the little cheeks here. A little, I think I'm using R11 there. Any little light pink is good. Just blended that out with my C1. And now I'm going in and I'm going to make this little guy a tabby cat. So just putting those little lines, and I kind of did it in a little triangular shape, if that makes any sense. And then I'm just going to blend it out slightly with the C3. So just a little bit lighter color, blending it out slightly. I don't want to blend it out too much, but just a little bit. And then we're just going to color in this little heart. And so this is a very monochromatic card, as you saw at the beginning. So it makes it really easy for choosing colors, right? Everything's going to be kind of colored in the same tones. And just showing you fussy cutting. I've left most things in the video today just so that everyone can see my process, including a couple bloopers, because I am not perfect, and maybe it's good that without the power of editing, you all see that, yes, I am human too. Anyways, I have definitely got better with my fussy cutting. There is kind of a trick to it, and it's where you kind of hold your scissors almost still, but you are using your other hand to maneuver. So maybe that's hard to explain, but it gives a bit of a smoother cut line. So while I'm squeezing my scissors closed, I'm kind of wiggling my image around. And I mean, to a point, obviously. There's certain times where you just can't do that, but just getting that little bit out by the tail. And then this guy here, I'm showing you, I don't want to keep on those little wings or the little hearts on top. So we're going to cut those off. And so this is where we're adapting this from a Valentine set to just keeping it for a just because or a friendship type card instead. So when I fussy cut this out, I'm just basically going to snip those right off. And then yes, there will be a little bit of a black mark there still, and I will show you what I do with that here in just a minute. So this is a great way to look at your stamps differently. You know, if you have stamps that you're like, hey, I love that one part of that image, but I don't want certain things with it, then you can certainly do this little trick. So I'm taking my black glaze pen, and I'm just making sure here that it's flowing nicely. And I'm going over the little noses and the little closed, the open eyes. The closed eyes don't work very good because you don't need them to be shiny. But any of the little dotted eyes, I'm going to go over top of. And I also went over some of the noses just to make them shiny. So they look like a little cute wet nose. And then now I'm going to go in with my white gel pen. And this is where I'm going to go over those lines that are still remaining from where I cut off the wings and the hearts. So we're just gonna basically cover up that little black spot. And it's amazing how a white gel pen will cover that up. And I mean, unless someone is looking really, really close, they're not going to notice this at all. And it just looks white from, well, even right from here. So, okay, so those little guys are all ready to go. We're just going to set them aside and we're going to assemble the rest of our card and we will come back to them. So we're starting by embossing a white layer here. I just used a heart embossing folder. And now we're going to trim down our pink polka dot paper here so that we create a layer. I think I'm doing 3.5 by 4 and 3/4. And then it just creates a bit of a border with the white embossed. And I was just showing you there, I went and stitched around the edge of that polka dot paper there. So that's what I've done. And now we're going to put down this embossed piece. First, this one is being stuck directly onto the card base. And I almost always do an A2 top folding card. So I do get questions about what size my cards are. Yeah, they're just an A2, standard A2. And I usually like the top folding versus the side fold, but that's just my preference. Punching out a nice big corner here with a textured cardstock that has a basil cardstock that unfortunately is no longer available. So when I run out, I will be looking for something else. We're going to do a bit of stamping. So we want our sentiment. So just showing you there. It says friends forever. A little pun. I love puns. Oh my gosh. And here's my first little blooper. Yes. I had to stamp this out not once, not twice, but 3 times to get the right impression, I guess. The second one wasn't bad, but I stamped it too close to the first one. So, and now I'm going to do this other cute little design here. So it's just like a little line with some doodly hearts. So it's kind of cute. And now that we've got our stamping out of the way, I am going to just cut both of these out with this little sentiment banner style die. And we're going to create a little cluster or a layer here for these little kitties to sit on. So one of the things I did was I just stitched this first piece. I love the texture of sewing. And when I'm creating little clusters like this, I feel like it's fun to add a little bit of interest and dimension and texture, as opposed to just doing straight pieces of paper, which also looks nice, but for me, I just like that look. So this was a way for me to make this card my own. I love layers and texture, so I wanted to create that look, even though I am casing someone else's card. So this is an iridescent thread, and I know if you've watched any of my other videos, you've seen me make these little thread clusters, but I'm going to show you actually in real time today how I did this instead of quickly. So I just take a couple lengths of that thread and I wrap it around my 2 fingers or 3 fingers, or depends on how big I want my loop. And this one I actually wanted quite small, so I took that whole loop now and I twisted it in half. So it makes quite a tiny little loop, and you can see it kind of already is loosening off or making that kind of messy little nest. So that was perfect. And I used my hot glue to stick that nest down because we're going to actually use that brad over top of it. And I put my fingers in it and made a nice mess. So careful. Blooper number 2. I am terrible at doing things like that. Like, I don't know what I was thinking. Nice hot glue on my fingers. And I am using my hot glue to stick down these layers as well, because I can put that hot glue in a place where it won't be seen through. I don't like to use hot glue with my trim and lace like that if it's somewhere where it's going to squish through and you can see it. So fortunately with this situation, that is not the case. And now that that's cooled, I'm just adding my brad through the center of that little thread nest. How many of you still have a million brads from back in the day? Oh my gosh. Let's use up the stash, eh? And I just had a little scrap of this trim, so we're just going to put that all the way across as well. So yeah, just building this little cluster at the bottom edge of the card where we're going to add our kitties soon. All right, and then, yep, there we're going to put the sentiment on. So I'm building all of this on this polka dot piece before I attach it to my card base. Mostly because I did that sewing, and I also attached that photo corner with a stapler, and so you don't want to go through all of your layers, so it's just easier to build it onto this layer. And I'm putting foam tape on a couple of these little kitties, again, just so that you can get different dimension, different texture. And so I'm kind of just laying stuff out here to decide where I want things. Oh, wrapping some more thread around. And I guess I didn't actually attach that yet because I don't want it to be in the way. And you'll see why here in just a minute. I'm going to do a bit more stamping, and so I don't want anything too bumpy to be in my way. So this is one of the things that I do sometimes is I lay out before I've stuck down, and then I can kind of determine like, yes, I like that. Yes, I don't. And I wanted this last little kitty to look like he was jumping up after that heart. So when I fussy cut it out, I kept them attached together, but also this is where the stamping is going to come into place. There's a cute little, I guess, I don't even know what you would call it, but it's like little loops, but it has hearts in it. So it looks like he's jumping. So it's quite cute. You'll see it here in just a moment. But what I've done is I've put a little sticky note over top of my trim, and then I marked where the edge of that other little kitty will be sitting with a pencil. And this will just ensure that when I stamp that out, I'm not going to make a mess and that I get it in the right place. And I always have to hold my breath a little when I've done this much work already, that I get a good impression. And that's probably where a stamp MISTI would be beneficial, because if it didn't make the perfect impression, you could go back and restamp. But anyways, that's just me and my style, what I do. Erasing that little pencil mark. And now we can stick down that cute fat cat. And then we can add our two last kitties that are on foam tape. And I just kind of stuck that one a little bit lower. Like I wanted to give them the impression that some are closer to you, some are further away. You can certainly do whatever you like. And you'll see the inspo card, or the card I cased again at the end. And you can see that she did hers are all on an actual straight line, and it's super cute that way too. And her little ledge that her kitties are on is just a lot more simple than mine. And it's adorable. So, I mean, you can do as much or as little as you want. I just love if I'm going to case a card that, one, I give credit to the person, but two, that I try to make it a little bit my own as well. And so this was my way of doing that, getting that texture in there. And now that that's all together, we are ready to attach it to our card front. And we just get that cute little heart border around the edge in the white. And for my final little touch, in the original card, she had, I think, some little butterflies floating around, and we're just going to use some little hearts. So I'm just going to attach those to the front of the card using some glue dots. If you use liquid glue, that would honestly probably have worked a bit better. I fought with the glue dots a little bit because these hearts are so tiny. So yeah, that would be perhaps a better choice, but whatever works for you. And then once I have all the little glue dot or all the little hearts put down, I am going to put some glossy accents over top of the hearts. And what that does when it dries is it actually makes them look like little enamel hearts or little embellishments or stickers almost, instead of just little die cut hearts. So it helps them to stand out a little bit better, especially with being a tone on tone type card. So again, dimension, gloss, Stickles would also work. Anything like that is going to, when you're using tone on tone, is going to give it just that little bit of extra dimension, or definition even would be a good word, so that it stands out from the other colors, or the same color rather. Oh, and I got a little bit extra, so I just use a pin to clean that up. And I'm just showing you here the final outcome. So that is my finished card, other than my glossy has to dry, of course. And just showing you, I always do a little finished inside with the little 3 hearts stitched there. Okay, so you can see her cute little card there on the left and my finished card on the right. And just some final pictures, close-ups of my card. I hope that was helpful. Thank you all so much for watching. I'd love to see what you create for Pet Week. Have a great day, everybody.